Hello everyone, and welcome to That Deacon on YouTube. This channel shares lots of information about the diaconate, but I don't think I've ever talked at length about the deacon's ordination process. What I'll do now and then is tackle this large subject, one video at a time. If you are watching for the first time, welcome. And if you find these videos helpful and informative, be sure to subscribe and click the bell icon to be notified when new content is available. The path toward ordination is involved, and it's a very large subject. It's also extremely subjective, so right from the start, I would like to stress and express a disclaimer. The path toward ordination is personal, varied, and intimate. Each diocese has their own procedures as they apply to the Episcopal Church's canons governing the ordination of priests and deacons. Today, I'd like to share the first baby step, named discernment. Discernment has two factors. The first is private discernment. Then one can move forward to what could be named rector-instructed discernment. Most dioceses have a document available on their diocesan website, so if I quote from one, I'll use the information put together by the Commission on Ministry for the Episcopal Diocese of Los Angeles. With regard to discernment, here's what this document has to say. Discernment, which technically means to separate, to distinguish, to determine, to sort out, is a word and a process familiar to the conversations of and in the lives of the baptized. Discernment is and should be a common practice of all the baptized, as everyone in the church should be involved in some aspect of ministry. Before the discernment process begins, the Church hopes that individuals are involved in some aspect of ministry in a parish, both personal and corporate. When I began attending what would eventually become my sponsoring parish, I was active as a greeter. We had a table with information about the parish set up out front, and we would greet everyone on Sunday mornings. I was a member of what was then named our GLBT ministry. Eventually, I went on to represent our parish at the diocesan level at what used to be named the Commission on Gay and Lesbian Ministry. One day, a church committee asked me to join an intercessory prayer group, which they named Prayer Partners. I was asked to join another committee, seeking to garner donations from the church to buy a concert grand piano. When I was not on duty as a greeter, I began to serve at the altar as an MC, later becoming a Eucharist home visitor. At some point, the people putting together the Vacation Bible School asked me to get involved as the face of the program, acting as a host for the opening segment, setting up each session prior to sending the kids off to their location for the evening. Now please understand, I'm not sharing this to brag or boast at my activities. I share this information for two reasons. One is to show how active I was in various aspects of parish ministry. Secondly, looking at this list, I found that many of the ministries I was active came about because the parish asked for my participation. From this list, what we find is both self-identified and parish-identified ministry. For people in discernment, I think it's important to take a critical look at ministries you might be involved. This might help you understand where you are spiritually and where you might be focusing your energies. In my case, I found it interesting that my involvement spanned worship, pastoral, and faith community participation. A valid ministry call is founded both upon reasonable consensus within the local faith community and on a person's own sense that God is indeed calling the individual into ministry of a particular character. It may well be the faith community that first perceives that God is calling one of its members and vocalizes that awareness. Or it may be the individual who voices his or her perception to a larger body. The relationship that follows is an intimate discernment partnership between the individual and a faith community. In my case, the recognition of a call was founded both within the community and personal discernment. But my entire process began due to a casual conversation with a part-time priest serving only on Sundays. During coffee hour, this priest asked me if I'd ever thought about seeking ordination as a priest. I replied that I was not a priest. I said this because as a young pup, I at one time had considered starting the path toward ordination as a Roman Catholic. Even though I was much younger back then, I had already discerned that the priesthood was not something I was called to. It was after this casual discussion that I began to explore other possibilities. That's when I discovered the Diaconate. It's at this point where my memory starts to get a little bit hazy. But after I found out about the ministry of a deacon, I slowly began the process of personal discernment. One thing I began to notice is that when the parish asked me to do something, I would normally say yes. I realized that other aspects of my ministry that I had become involved were self-recognized, as though something was moving me towards the care and the spiritual needs of our parish family. Then, looking at my prayer partner and home communion visits, I realized that I had visited and prayed with many people in the parish. I knew their pains, frustrations, health concerns, joys, and accomplishments. I had even walked the path of many parishioners toward their end-of-life process. This critical look at my choices and spiritual balance has served me well, even as a deacon. One time, I remember my rector coming to me to say that she thought we had a deacon in our midst. My rector said that this person had a knack for community organization, starting an after-school program for high schoolers in the area. All this is well and good, but I noticed that this person was not involved in any form of spiritual growth. Sometimes opting out not to worship on Sundays, citing outside church volunteer activities. After speaking with this person and talking about the diaconate, it was apparent there was a significant imbalance between doing and prayerful participation. This person to this day is active in the outlining community and is having an excellent lay ministry. But that person is not a deacon. One aspect of the diaconate is to balance activity in the church and outside the parish. Ideally, there should be a balance and willingness to be active in worship and community activism. In this person's case, the willingness to be active in worship was problematic. So I invite you to take a hard, long look at your ministry and evaluate your prayer life and participation in worship, whatever that might entail. After the chat with the priest, and after seeking out information about the diaconate, and after a few months, I sat down at my computer, sending an email to my rector, saying that I felt as though something was beginning to stir up my soul. I found out later that this wording struck a nerve in a positive way. It was not too long after that my rector and I made an appointment to talk. And this is where this particular video will end, with me making an appointment with my rector. Once a person informs the rector of this very personal revelation, things move to the next step, which is still part of the discernment process. It's not over yet. There's still more to go. But since your rector is included, discernment can enter a new phase. In another video, I'll share what may happen next in a person's journey as part of the diaconal ordination process. I hope you have been following and checking out the Flow Project. For those who don't know, it's my secondary channel promoting contemplative spirituality. I have a Facebook page and a website as well. And there might be a podcast edition in the works too. Please check it out. I'll leave the links below. Thanks for watching, and allow me to extend and wish you all a very wonderful and happy Thanksgiving. For those who attend in-person worship services, remember, if you partake in Eucharist, this term also means Thanksgiving. In fact, each time you break bread together, it's always Thanksgiving, without the turkey and the gravy and the stuffing and the pumpkin pie and all the good stuff. Anyway, God bless, and I'll see you all next time.